All right, we are back in the FloTrack podcast, and the mega NCAA extravaganza is underway. We are recording this Friday evening, Gordon, 2 days into the NCAA Indoor Championships, just 2 days away from the NCAA Cross Country Championships. Are you liking the 2021 schedule so far, Gordon?
I'm liking it because it exists, right? And this, I think the first day of NCAA Indoors, we'll get right into it, has the prelims kind of give us some unexpected events, highlighted by what Wesley Kiptoo just did in the 5K. Who does that? That is not normal, right?
Yeah. That was not normal at all. I watched your performance in the press conference where you were basically asking him that question 7 different ways. I don't know if you ever got a clear or a satisfying answer because you kept following up and kept following up. But he goes out there, he wears gloves, he goes out in 4:06 for the mile, and then just kind of cruises and is so far ahead that he doesn't need to push it because, as we know, he's one of the guys who's doubling. And he's not just ahead by a little bit. This wasn't he's got 5 meters, 10 meters on the field that can kick away. He was ahead by he could have fallen down twice. Tied his shoe.
He could have went the wrong direction. Could have went the wrong direction.
Could have gone right.
Realize, make a U-turn, turn around, and still would have won.
Yeah, and yet he looked like he was not going completely to the well, but he certainly did not jog it in because he runs 13:23, which is an incredibly quick time given the circumstances. And I thought the same thing as you, which is just like, whoa, is this oh my goodness, look how good this guy is, cross-country world lookout on Monday? Or is it going to be a situation where we say, maybe he should have taken his foot off the gas? What do you think?
I mean, I think regardless, no matter what he does on Monday, we're going to think about it through the lens of what he did this past afternoon, I guess. If you're listening to us Friday night late, this past afternoon, if you listen to us Saturday morning, yesterday, but I think he just is so raw to like racing strategy. When I was interviewing him after, I try to ask, multiple people asked him, like, when you see 2:01 on the clock, when you're running a 5K, he was running
his 800 split,
world record pace. His 800 split was 2:01.
Yeah.
He's literally running world record pace. And he's like not thinking like, hey, maybe I should take it easy. And he was just like, oh no, I'm just running. He looks at it such a basic way, like a simple way. Like I just run and I try to run away from the people who are chasing me. And then once they're far away enough away, I can kind of relax. Like he's basically the version of how we all would react in a zombie apocalypse. You run as fast as you can. And once you have distance, you relax, you find shelter, but when they're coming for you again, you pick it up. And that's just his race strategy. And it's worked so far. But I think the question you and I are going to have is, will it work against a Connor Mantz, a Luis Grijalva, a Nico Young? Even a Cooper Tier. It hasn't worked yet against a Cooper Tier. He lost to a Cooper Tier in a 3K. So that's the big question, is this strategy works against, Aaron Benefeld, and, a bunch of other guys who and a Morgan Beetlescum. Nothing against what they did. They all ran incredible times. It's like 13:33 was 8th, which is insane. But right. He has yet to really go up against a true 13 teen type guy, like a Luis Grijalva or a Connor Mantz.
Just looking back at his splits here, as I mentioned, he was 4:06 at 1600. Adrian Wildschut, who was the closest to him, was 4:09. But Eric Hamer, the eventual runner-up, was 4:18. So he had 12 seconds on him at the mile. At 3,200, he had 15 seconds on Hamer, had 7 seconds on Wildschut. And then by the end, as I mentioned, the margin of victory was about 6 seconds over Hamer. But that was with, his last, he went 32.6, 33 flat, 32.8, 32.5, 31.8 for his last several laps there. He could have taken his foot off the gas, right? He could have, that 31.8 could have been a 33.8. He could have been looking around and completely relaxed, and he didn't do it. I'm wondering, just you going into this meet, hey, we've never seen him in an NCAA championship. How is he going to deal with, I don't want to say the competition, because he's raced good competition before, but it's different in a championship. And you and I have seen guys and women run fast in the regular season, and then for whatever reason in the championship, they're not able to produce it at that moment. And he answered that question definitively, but in a way, it's almost like he answered it too well, because now he's got to go ahead and do it again in 2 days. The reason why I'd be confident if I was Iowa State, if I was Wesley Kiptoo, if I was a Wesley Kiptoo fan, is he just looks so dang effortless doing it. As you mentioned, like running away from, in a zombie apocalypse, except a very, very composed person within a zombie apocalypse. And I think he helped obviously get this race going. He almost ran too fast. It's not like he drug all these people to PRs because the pace was so quick, but I think him going out fast, pulled Wildshut out fast, pulled everybody else by extension out quick. And they had a nice little pack going behind him. Yeah, it was several seconds pack of Kiptoo, but that's how you end up with, what do we have here? 13:29, 13:29, 13:30, 13:21, 13:32, 13:32, 13:33 were the scorers here. I'm guessing that's faster than you than you thought going in.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about this being a year of incredible performances. I mean, we thought what BYU did when they had 3 guys run sub 13:30.
Right.
A guy ran 13:33 and isn't even All-American. He got 9th.
Yeah,
13:33 was 9th in this race. Yeah. Shout out Andrew Jordan. Got it. That's gotta hurt, man. 13:33 every year is probably top 5, but in this year it's 9th. Yeah, I mean, can
you imagine this race though with Mance, with Klinger, with Grijalva, with basically with drop BYU and NAU right in with Cooper Tier. Well, I don't know. Do you want to talk about Oregon tonight? The Oregon men? We're gonna get to the women in the back half of the show. Do you want to talk about
before
Oregon men, or do you want to talk about Kiptoo?
Well, before we talk about, I just want to give a shout out to our boy Shea Foster, guy coming out of nowhere.
Listen to the pod.
He soloed in his conference meet to qualify for the indoor 5K. Then he runs a massive PB here. You gotta love the small school kid just coming in, mixing up with the boys. I mean, when he sent us that email, look out for me. He's arrived. He doesn't need to be looked out for. I mean, you run 13:20s, you're arrived, and I think that's pretty cool. It will be interesting though. Yeah. We look at this crop of guys. Where will they all finish on Monday? We know Kiptoo probably still going to be top 3 no matter what. But the rest of them, will this hurt them? Will this help them? Give them confidence? We don't know. But yeah, I do think though. Go. Sorry.
When you look at my fantasy team, I'm just looking at it from my fantasy perspective. I have Kiptoo and Bienenfeld. So I have 1 and 5 in this race, but that doesn't get me anything because I need him to do it on Monday. So I'm a little worried. Come on, guys. Go ahead.
I mean, the main thing I took away from this race is I know basically Ed Eyestone and Mike Smith were definitely watching this because they both have an individual front runner in Grijalva and Mance, who they probably want the individual title for their guy, their senior or junior in Mance's case, but they also want them to make sure they're still top 3. So they are a 2 points or 1 point, 3 points. And the main question I have coming out of this is, how do Ed and Mike react to what Kiptoo did? And do they adjust their game plan for their team, for their individual? Like, is it going to be the same no matter what? Because you see what happened to Amoyne Kemboy. Amoyne Kemboy, he's good. He's Arkansas SEC champ. He arguably would finish top 5 in cross fresh. And he went with them. And then as a result, he finished like 407.
Yep.
He went with them. And so
I wonder how much of that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. No, sorry. I'm excited.
I was just going to say, I wonder how much of that was him thinking about Monday with the Arkansas guys. I wonder how much of it was, hey, like we got another race in 48 hours or 72 hours. I'm losing track of time. But you're right. To answer your question, I would let him go 100%. The way Kiptoo races is not conducive to a low risk team score strategy. That is a high risk strategy. If you go out with Wesley Kiptoo, it'd be one thing if he was fast, but it was even effort, measured effort, and you were able just to play off of him a little bit. And if you redline, you're okay. You can hold it together. No, man. If people go with him on Monday, if he does the same thing on Monday, he's with those hills, he's going to put people like out to pasture really quickly. Like they're just that second loop comes around, they're just going to opt out. They're not even going to go into that forest with Wesley Kiptoo. They're not going to know what type of person they're going to turn into when they come back out. So no, if I'm a BYU or an NAU front runner or any front runner, really, I don't think your best chance for a low score is going with Wesley Kiptoo. I think that's a recipe for blowing up, unless he tempers it a bit on Monday, which is a possibility because he could have trouble recovering from this.
You know what I would do? If I was an NAU coach or an NAU athlete or BYU coach or BYU athlete, I would get a text thread going between Mance, Grijalva, Coach Eyestone, and Coach Smith, and I would say, "Hey guys,
yeah,
we both want to win. We get it. We want to beat each other, but our best opportunity to beat each other is with our top guys doing well." So what I would do is I would have Mance and Grijalva collude, where they agree, "Hey, let's not go with Kiptoo, but let's go with him, but like 15 meters back, so he feels like he has us dropped, but we are with him." So like because I feel like he keeps going as fast as possible when there's people near him. He's like a magnet. He just has to repel himself away from people. So if he feels like he has a lead, the pace that he's pushing is probably going to slow down, which allows Mance and Grijalva to handle it easier. And then in the final K, they're like, "All right, let's go chase him,
sneak back
past Kiptoo," and then it's Mance versus Grijalva at the end. I think that's their best opportunity. It's like, hey, we'll be in no man's land together. Let's let him think he's winning 25 meters ahead. We are the real leaders. We will stay together. We'll look at each other and say, "All right, let's go." And then once you pass each other, they're not teammates anymore. They're enemies, and they go for the individual win. I think that's going to be the best strategy. That's my opinion.
Definitely best strategy. The only part of the plan that won't work is the part where NAU and BYU work together. Other than that, genius. I don't see any issues with this plan. No way that they could foil it. Other than that, they're not going to work together.
It worked for.
But I think
I was saying it worked for Meb Keflezighi in the Boston Marathon with Ryan Hall.
True. And they did that on the fly too. They didn't even need to do any pre-race planning on that one. You're right. I think on Monday, I think he's going to be aware of his surroundings, and I think he's going to be checking around him, and he's going to have Iowa State people telling him exactly how far he is. Because you're right. I don't think he wants it to come down to a kick. Why would you if you're that much better than the field? And in the race that he lost this year, right? We saw him get out-kicked. Now it was against two really, really good runners, but it's just so hard to predict because we do this all the time. Not with indoor to cross, because indoor to cross has never happened back on the same weekend. We do this, though, all the time from indoor 5,000 to indoor 3,000. And we fall in love with whoever wins the 5,000, and we say, there's no way they're going to lose the 3,000 the next day. Or on the track, they win the 10,000. There's no way they're going to lose the 5,000. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So I'm not willing to give him the championship yet. All I'll say is, though, he was really dang good today. And he answered a lot of questions about how he'll respond to a championship style race, which is he does not make it a championship style race. He just runs on his own.
You know what? I know we're looking forward to Monday, but let's be honest. The outdoor 5K final, when it's going to be Kiptoo versus Grijalva versus Mance versus Cooper Tier versus Edwin Kurgat, it's like, come on. Yeah. You can't get better than that. That's going to be like the ultimate clash of like the top five. That's going to be exciting. Yeah. So, but we're in indoor right now, soon to become cross country.
Speaking of indoor and speaking of Oregon, on the men's side, they were the other big story of the day. Their DMR team ran 919.98, just missed that collegiate record that this year. Cooper Tier split a 352.99. And look, they all looked great today. Tier, got the baton, was so composed, so poised. You've seen people put on the brakes too much. You've seen people try to extend that lead and it backfire on them. Tier played it perfectly there, got the win. Charlie Hunter in the 800 leg looked great. He was just with the pack and then scooted away. He looked great in his 800 prelim as well too. And Cole Hawker had the best time coming out of the mile prelims. So far, so good for the Oregon men. Also, Michael Williams, the top qualifier in the 60. Pretty much a perfect day for the team favorite Oregon men.
Yeah, almost perfect. Peralta didn't get through in the 8, but again, they are currently projected to win by 16 points. Right now, the projections are Oregon 67, LSU 51, and then 4 teams in that third spot with 31 points. Florida, Georgia, A&T, and Tennessee. So really it's an Oregon versus LSU match. And if Oregon just does bare minimum, they're going to win. I mean, I don't see anyone really challenging Hawker and Tier in that 3K. I think Amoy Kemboy is now shot after the 5K. He was probably the closest challenger in the 3K. And yeah, they're just going to score. I mean, yeah, their bad performances are going to be third places. That's what, like, they're going to be disappointed when they get third. And they're getting third to first is their range individually of what they're going to do. So,
well, let's look at that mile. Cole Hawker has the fastest qualifying time, and the person who you tabbed as the pre-race favorite, Sam Tanner of Washington, doesn't even make the final. So they're going to gain points there in a lot of form charts. I thought Hunter looked better than Taki Hideli did in the prelim of the 800. I think you'd have to say he's the favorite. And then based on what Cooper Tier did in the DMR, you have to say he's the favorite in the 5K. Not that they're going to get
3K.
30 points, right? Or sorry, the 3K, excuse me. See, I'm thinking about outdoors now because you got that in my ear, Gordon. But
there you go.
Yeah, they would need a pretty big collapse. LSU's doing well though. Javon Harrison gets that double again, that high jump, long jump double, 230 and 8.45. I saw Statman John says the best one-day high jump, long jump double in history. So they're doing what they can to stay competitive. This Oregon team is really tough to beat. What did you think of the DMR?
It was fast, right? Like,
yeah.
We rarely. It's like the whole. Remember, I mean, there was a time when Texas's 9:25, whatever, with Leo Manzano and Jacob Hernandez was like the collegiate record for like 13 plus years. Then it just gets broken, and then like almost everyone in the top 5 teams in the final all like break it. I mean, Texas broke their school record, which was previously the national record, with a soft, like Creighton Carrozza, nothing against these guys, but like with a bunch of guys who don't have the pedigree of what a Liam Manzano was in college. I think it just shows that I think finally, I always thought this, I think finally schools and athletes are recognizing that the DMR times that we thought 930 was super elite. I think people need to now realize like, no, elite is sub 920. And I think 10 years from now, I think we should be having a 910 being 915 to 910 being the collegiate record, in my opinion.
You had a lot of championships, and there's not a lot of opportunities to run DMRs. Usually they run one for real to qualify, and then they run one in the NCAA championships. And there's how many years have there been when you've been covering these things where it's a jog fest when it gets to the mile and the time becomes completely irrelevant? I mean, the time, it's a championship meet, so the time's irrelevant. Let's just be clear. But there's been enough of those editions of it. I think Tier keeping the pace going, he kept it honest and then kicked off of an honest pace was the best strategy for him. And it also, he slowed it down enough to pull a few guys along in the beginning, and they sped up to get into that group. And then some of them fell off when he kept going again. But this wasn't Ches at Penn Relays when you and Lincoln lost your mind up there at Franklin Field when he slammed on the brake so hard. Like this was he kept it honest enough. They don't have the individual. I don't have individual lap splits on this. I just have splits by leg. So I can't see exactly how Tier went out, but he certainly was conservative in the beginning and then wound it up. But it was not I'm going to be so annoyingly slow that I'm going to force you to pass me. He didn't get to that. He didn't get to that pace. And then obviously closed really well. So I thought, Oregon, you worry when you run that fast that early in the season, hey, are they going to have enough for championship time? And maybe it's because there's been such a long layoff because of COVID that they have an extra bit of pep in their step, but they looked just as sharp as you'd expect.
Yeah. And I know we talked about the Oregon LSU battle. When I look at because right now I project 67 Oregon, 51 LSU. That's with accounting for who made the finals and everything. LSU just doesn't have an opportunity to score many more points. I mean, I have LSU winning the 200. I have them getting fourth in the 400 and like second in the 60 hurdles. Like there's not really a lot of opportunities for them to be like, I'm going to go from 7th to 2nd in 3 different events so they can make up that gap. Where Oregon, it seems like a lock. The only way Oregon is going to lose is if their distance guys like trip and fall and their sprinter false starts, which the odds of that happening are pretty rare.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, they got their triple jumper going tomorrow too as well.
Yeah.
So they got points there, and did they get in? Yeah, they got 6 in the heptathlon too. So added in some points there. What other men's highlights were there prelim wise? I know the number 1 seed in the 400 from Ohio State, Tyler Johnson, went out in the first round. We already mentioned Tanner going out. Trey Cunningham looked good in the 60 hurdles. Michael Williams looked good in the 60. He shut it down around 652. He's good. He's legitimately good. Not that anybody didn't know that who's been paying attention.
He has like the biggest quads I've ever seen. He reminds me of Shaquan Barkley. That's like, it's like massive. I'm like, damn, this guy is motor. He's definitely looks like he's built for a 60. I'll be interested to see how he does in 100 because his short stature kind of has like the Christian Coleman type stature. I mean, Coleman was able to become a great 100-meter runner, but when Coleman was in a 60, you knew he was in his wheelhouse. So I think, he looks like he's going to be a good talent. He could be, if he develops well and has a good outdoor, he could sneak onto the Olympic team. You know, Justin Gatlin isn't getting any younger. We know Lyles and Bromell are pretty much 2 of the main locks, but who could take that 3rd spot? Could be a freshman from Oregon. How great would Oregon love that, the Olympic trials, seeing there? A sprint. How often is a star Oregon sprinter on the men's side being like the shining star of who makes an Olympic team? You know, it's normally the female sprinters, but never a male sprinter. Yeah.
And if anybody remembers back in, the last couple Olympic trials, they've had somebody in the mix there, and the Hayward fans really, really get behind him. Were there any other people or any other upsets or surprises in either the field events or the sprint prelims that we should know?
Yeah. I mean, Adrian Pippery, Texas, he didn't even make the final. He was favored to win, or if not get 2nd. So that kind of really hurt Texas's team chances of being a podium team.
In the shot.
Yeah, in the shot. Excuse me. I mean, you mentioned it, but LSU's Javon Harrison.
He's
winning
good.
the high. That's his name, right? He's good. Winning the high jump and the long jump. It's like, it's a very diverse. How many people are doing that? Like, when's the last time we've had? I mean, you see long jump, triple jump all the time. You see long jump, sprinter all the time. But high jump, long jump, normally high jumpers, they're like so lanky that, I don't know. It's just like, it's such a specific event that it's hard for them to really translate their skill set into other events because it's so important for the technique of being a high jumper. Whereas kind of long jump, you need that speed and it kind of translates well to other events. But the high jump, man, he's going to be, I think he's going to be here to stay, and he's going to be making a bunch of world teams for the next decade, it feels.
Yeah, I wonder which way he's going to go. High jump or long jump. And you're really curious. If you just focused on one, how good could he get in just one? Maybe it seems like they have it working there to where they're mutually beneficial. While we're on the topic of field events, though, we should mention some collegiate records went down. Tyra Gittens of Texas A&M set the pentathlon collegiate record. That was on day 1 on Thursday. And then on day 2, Friday, Tara Davis, 6.93 in the long jump for Texas, which broke the collegiate record. That was 6.91 from 20 2015. So big jump for her. Man, top 4. They kept on the broadcast. They kept talking about how fast the runways were there at the Fayetteville complex, and I mean top 4 set PBs there. So 693, 670, 668, and 666 for Davis, Bryant, Gittens, and Wisby. Pretty impressive.
I would say
so the runways are fast. The runways are fast.
I was most impressed with what Tara Davis did of Texas, because she's been like out of the game for seems like forever. I mean, she was great coming out of high school. Then she was like not a superstar as a freshman at Georgia, but like you could see something was brewing. But then she decided to transfer. She had to sit out a year, and then you have COVID, and then she got injured, and all this stuff, all to culminate to like breaking a collegiate record. Not winning an NCAA title, but breaking a collegiate record is pretty impressive. I did not see her getting to the top to like. I could see her like getting back into being a top 3 in the NCAA, but to become an all-time NCAA athlete, did not see that coming. And it's great for her, and I think. I think she found her event. I don't think she's going to be doing the 60 hurdles anytime or the 110 hurdles. I think she found her event in the long jump, and I think that'll be the event that she can focus on to really propel her post-collegiate career, which I'm sure will be pretty good.
Yeah, and that freshman year at Georgia, I just looked it up. She was 3rd. That was when Georgia went 1, 2, 3, and she was 650. She was 650. So a few years later, all the way up to 693, knocking on the door of 7 meters. Pretty impressive. You want to stay on the women's side here, Gordon?
Yeah. What do we got?
Well, I guess we could start with the sprints, or do you want to go to do you want to talk about women's 5?
Let's talk about the women's 5. So we were watching it while we were
Joyce Camelli. Joyce Camelli, 1548, wins in a kick over Bethany Haas. Who is Bethany Haas on my fantasy cross-country team? She is, so I hope she's rested up. Ellie Hines of NC State 3rd. Mahala Norris, that was one of Lincoln's picks, 4th. Abby Wheeler, 5th. Grace Forbes, 6th. Jenna Magnus, 7th. And Hannah Steelman in 8th. Katie Izzo in 9th. So I think I'm guessing, I don't know, have you had a chance to update your scores yet? Your team score projections? I'm guessing you were counting on Arkansas to put some points on the board there. Okay.
Yeah, I had Arkansas just winning. I haven't updated, but I will update so that's a big blow. Yeah, but Arkansas had a big lead, so the odds of it really hurting them, I don't think it's going to be that crazy, but I can update it really quick. Don't worry, when I update it for tomorrow, it'll be much quicker.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, this was tactical. They did not do the Kiptoo approach here. They went out in about 5:18, 5:19. It was weird seeing a race. It's like, oh, this is how a championship race is supposed to be run. Like Wesley Kiptoo made that thing look like a dual meet, a very, very fast dual meet, but a dual meet nonetheless. And then they started just past a mile. They started getting going around 2K. They hit 3,200 in 10:20, and then they still had some laps where they're really dawdling in the middle. They're very, very, very tactical. And Camelli went 34-31. So she closed in about 65, 66 and change there to hold on and get the win. So national championship for Joyce Camelli of Auburn, and then Bethany Haas right behind her in 2nd. And it'll be interesting to see the people who are doubling back. You know, it's not just a Kiptoo situation. There's going to be a bigger sample size than just one person. So it'll be interesting to see how they come back on Monday.
Yeah, and looking at the updated, I mean, this is not counting the 200 prelims, which are happening right now as we do this pod, and the DMR, which we'll react to live in a few minutes here. But Texas A&M right now is in the lead with the projected at 57, Arkansas 55, BYU 39, Texas 38, LSU 37. So BYU and Arkansas are the top 2 teams in this DMR coming up. So that'll be an interesting matchup. I have BYU winning, so that helps them get into that 3rd position. But we'll see what happens. But Texas A&M on the backs of Tyra Gittens, doing well in the high jump, in the pentathlon. She still was a top scorer in the long jump. They're getting the job done in the field events. We know they have a thing mo coming in tomorrow, and they're 4x4, so they have points. Arkansas, though, still in it. 57-55 is basically a virtual tie, but they have a big gap over BYU and Texas. BYU and Texas, they're in that 3-4 spot, but they don't have enough bullets to really move up into the top two because Arkansas and A&M are going to score a lot of points tomorrow.
Yeah, Arkansas, I'm looking at that 400. Pretty interesting. They got 2 through, but they didn't get the other 2. But Texas A&M has the top 2 seeds. Athingmo did not take your advice and intentionally get a slower seed to be in the slow heat. She not only did she not take your advice, she just went completely the other direction. She won it by 0.6 of a second, 51.02. I just see that she tweeted here, Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh, she tweeted a half hour ago. She says, "I'm doing a standing start in the finals."
I love that. I ran a 400 in college, and I was the only one with no blocks. For a lot of times, people who are mid-distance people trying to run a 400, they don't. It's not comfortable. Yeah. If you're not born with blocks, you don't. She's probably faster without blocks, 100%. I know it doesn't make any sense, but if you don't practice block starts, you can't just put them on and be like, "Oh, I'm here." Like, it doesn't work that way. So.
No, it seems like it's difficult. It's not definitely something I wouldn't be like, "Hey, it's NCAA championship. Let's throw some blocks out there." No, when they run 4x4,
fun video, seeing Bowerman Track Club all try to do like a block start 60 and to see how bad the form is, them coming out of the blocks.
Yeah,
distance runners just don't know how to do it.
It's a lot of coordination, right?
It is
a lot of coordination. Women's mile prelims. The reason why Gordon broke the 4th wall earlier, we're recording. The DMR has not happened yet, so that's why we're not able to. So if something crazy happened in the women's DMR, I guess we should have said this at the beginning. If 9 teams break the world record and someone splits a 4:05 mile, and we didn't lead with it,
the reason we didn't get to
because. Yeah. Which there's so much other stuff that I'm guessing it's gonna be good, but I think it's gonna be in its proper spot. But yeah, so we're waiting for that to start in a couple minutes, and then I guess we'll react to that one. It's good practice for tomorrow. Actually, why don't we plug that? Do you want to plug that?
Yeah, we should plug tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? Or we should say what tomorrow's date is. Tomorrow is Saturday. If they're listening to this on a Saturday.
Yeah, which they are, because nobody's crazy enough to listen to this on a Friday night. Tomorrow, on the final day of the NCAA Indoor Championships, we're going to do live podcasts. You can watch them on the FloTrack podcast YouTube page. So if you want to watch the meet, but then watch us talk about it, look at Gordon's projections in real time, you can check it out. And it's going to be going on during the men's session, which is earlier in the day, and then the women's session, which is later in the day. I'll get those exact times for you right now, because earlier in the day and later in the day, you might be saying, "Hey, Kevin, that's way too vague for us. Can you actually tell us specific times?" And I will tell you those times right now. And the women's time is, Gordon, do you know?
Oh, so it's at 1:45 for the men and 5:45 for the women.
Oh, yes, there you go. 1:45 and 5:45. So we'll take
Central.
A break in between, but Central. We'll be reacting in real time, so you can check it out. Also, if you can't watch in real time, we'll archive those as 2 separate podcasts, and you'll be able to find them in the normal podcast feed or on the website or on YouTube. But FloTrack Podcast YouTube page, we're also going to run that back again because Gordon's trying to kill us. We're going to run that back on Monday during the cross country championships, when we'll start at about 11 a.m. Central and run through both the women's race first and then the men's race. And we are supposed to have some special guests for that too, which it's not Lincoln. I know last time maybe people were like, "Oh man, who's their special guest for the fantasy draft?" And then we got to the end and it was just like Lincoln chilling on his bed in front of cool artwork, and they were kind of disappointed. This time, these are actual professional, at least one athlete, and then it could be plural, it could be athletes. So in any event, that's what's going on. Watch party, FloTrack Podcast YouTube channel, and you can subscribe there as well too. How'd I do?
You did great. I think you can clip
Okay,
that.
thanks.
Would be great. Other things I want to say about the women's prelims before we get into this DMR that we'll react to live. The 60, we finally saw some fast times in the women's 60.
Yeah,
Tanisha Terry ran 7:09. It's 0.02 off of the collegiate record. You got to think that in the final, she's probably going to be sniffing Aaliyah Hobbs / Hannah Cunliffe's 7:07 record.
yeah.
So she looked good there. She's also qualified in the 200. And then also, I got to say this because I'm going to say it every time until end of June. But Abby Steiner, top seed in the women's 200, she is going to be making the Olympic team in the 200 come June. And it all starts now. No one was saying it. I was saying it back in August, holding on to it. She ran 22.62 in this prelim. Yeah, I said it like 3 August.
Yeah.
I said it before the pandemic. So yeah. Anyway.
Hey,
also, I'm excited to see my one prediction come to fruition.
Yeah, after a couple of them went completely up in smoke. Although in Gordon's guesses this week, I don't think you talked about Sam Tanner. So you can just forget that happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, everyone will got that wrong.
7.11 too for Kiara Grant, who was not in Terry's heat. So Terry, she might need to run the collegiate record to win that race tomorrow.
Yeah. So we're here. If people are listening to it, we're watching the women's DMR.
Not here. We're at home. We're at home. We're not at the meet. Sorry, but second year in a row, we're at home.
Yeah, we're not there. It's unfortunate. There's one thing as media, it's really annoying though. We're looking at this feed and you see people there. There's people in the stands. There's so many officials. They couldn't let
who's that person?
Media. They couldn't let 3 media people stand there with the camera, but they need 20 old people to be, I don't know. It's just come on. They could have added 3 extra bodies. That's all I'm saying.
That's
3 extra.
That's bodies. Gordon's take. That's Gordon's take on it. Arkansas, Lauren Gregory that's Lauren Gregory, right? Yep. She's extending the lead over BYU. This is kind of working out how you thought it would. Yeah.
BYU just needs to maintain somewhat of a distance. I mean, not to fall apart too much. Seems like they're falling off, but they do have Courtney Wayman on the anchor. She's the best miler in the field. You have to imagine if she's within 10 meters, they should be back in it, through the first 1K of their 1,600 meter anchor. So 3:18 through 1,200. I don't know good women's 1,200 times. The men, it's pretty it's very it's sub 3 and it's decent. The lower you get to 250, the more elite you are. Is for women, is it sub 330 or is it sub 320? I don't know what it is.
Well, 330 would be 440 pace, so you think that would be definitely manageable here. Is Chrissy Gear going to be on anchor for Arkansas? Because she had a pretty good mile earlier in the day. This is just riveting for people who already know the answer to this. Wait, Chrissy Gear? yeah, she won the first heat, 440. Yeah.
Well, we can hope something crazy happens.
The first 40 minutes of this pod was really good. Yeah, something crazy happens though. It's just going to be 2 people going, oh. Okay, so it's Arkansas, BYU, 1 and 2. Let's see. It's also really hard to tell who's running what legs because they're switching everybody around.
Oh, collision.
Oh, and there was a fall there. That was good.
That collision.
I'm interested in this strategy here, right? As you are every single time with the DMR. Do you want to really get a lead, or do you want to be the hunter or the hunted? It's interesting. It'll be interesting when if Arkansas hands off in the lead, do they continue to press their advantage, or do they back off a bit and try to kick? You're saying you wouldn't want to go toe to toe with Waymet fresh, basically. So
yeah, I mean, BYU is in perfect. They're in perfect position right now. I mean, this could all come if you know the result. I could be saying something stupid right now. But
you do know you literally know the result. There's no way you don't know the result because this is not going out live.
That's true. Well, they can not look at results. Even if just listen to the pod, they could just be unaware.
Know. Because we're probably going to put the result like in the description, right? And such and such is epic DMR win or something. Maybe we'll leave this
That's
one out.
true.
We won't talk about this one, even if it's epic. But
But
what's the collegiate record? Should we be watching for the women's collegiate record too in this thing? Since the men's almost went down, do we put a lot of weight on collegiate? Oregon 10:48.77 from 2017.
That's breakable. What do they give? So we'll see what when they get it the mile.
It's just so hard to figure out with the splits, everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's a DMR.
Well,
so
I was saying,
possible here.
Would the DMR be more exciting if you could choose the order of your legs?
We talk about this every 3 months, so I'm glad you're bringing it up now. BYU's caught Arkansas, by the way. No, I think the DMR would be more exciting. The DMR would be more exciting if the 800 was last. That's the way you. I don't know if you want to call it fix the DMR, but yeah, the 800. Oh man, they got the baton at the same time, pretty much. But we'll see.
Well, they got
we'll
like 620. So I mean, if they run a 430, then you run 428 to break the collegiate record. That could happen.
That'd be.
Wayman's fresh.
Running start. Yeah, maybe. We're talking about history as it happened on a recorded podcast. It's never before done, seen before.
You know, it was a funny thing when I was watching the earlier women's races, like the mile and the with audio on, and there's not a lot of fans there. It's kind of quiet, right? But you could hear coaches,
I know, it's
right? And I could totally distinctly know when Diljeet Taylor was screaming, because she had a very distinct scream for her athletes in the miles. Like, oh, that's Diljeet. I learned that when we were filming them mic'd up with them a few weeks ago during the West Coast Conference Championships. So they went.
You could hear every coach.
Yeah, they got the baton at 620. So what are they? Ooh,
so they went out 7:30.
440 pace. Yeah, 440 pace. Yeah, Weymouth should just go.
Chrissy Gear.
Drop them. Yeah, Weymouth. This is over.
Do you think she? So you're saying you think they can hear Coach Taylor? Is that what your guess is?
No, I just thought it was just funny that I, watching the ESPN feed, could hear one voice screaming, and I knew who that was. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, no, I 100% the same, and I was being sarcastic because they definitely can hear her, and it's probably helping them. They've run well, so they got 2 women through in the mile. Their 800-meter runner looks really good, and this will be if they can hold on here. Go ahead.
They'll get 10 points here, and then they have 2 women in the 3K who could both finish in the top 3. So they could get 18 to 16 points in the 3K, plus these 10 points, plus whatever they get in the mile and the 8. They have enough to get to 40, potentially podium, which would be crazy because that means BYU could podium with a distance-only crew, of which none of them are running cross-country. That's just wild.
8:38.
They could go all fresh on cross-country on Monday. It would be like the perfect BYU weekend for the women.
8:38. I think she just needs a 70 for the collegiate record. Is that right? Yeah, 8:48.
That's how math works.
Am I looking at the time right? Yeah. Well, this would be the first. Coach Taylor's never won coached a national title in D1. So this would be the first one. They've gotten close a lot. Obviously, last year in Terre Haute and Cross, they went down to the wire with Arkansas. But Courtney Weymouth is just opening this thing up. This is just insane. This is a show of confidence. I don't think I've seen a DMR that I can remember at the NCAA championship being run like this. But she's just cruising along.
They might get the record. Yeah, they were like 9:30 with 100 to go. So 9:48 is the record. What's the exact record?
Gordon, the record is 10:48.
Oh, sorry, I'm off. Oops. I'm off by a lap.
Oh, so she's got 2 to go. Is that right?
Yeah. So
okay. So I was off by a lot.
Okay, so yeah,
see, this is why you don't.
Me. No, this is why you don't do it live.
Well, no, I thought it was. There's a lot of reasons why you don't do it live. We're just working out the kinks for tomorrow. Unless she's finishing here, in which case they're going to beat the collegiate record by 20 seconds. And then that would be kind of weird. or like
No,
30
she's still
seconds
going.
actually. Yeah, I know. That was sarcasm. So 10:20 at the bell. 10:20 at the bell. Arkansas about 10:24 at the bell here. BYU looking very, very good. And like Gordon said, puts them in a good spot in the team race as well too, because Wayman's coming back in the 3, Olivia Hoy in the 3. Their 800 runner could win, and they could get points in the mile as well too. But Weymouth is going to win this thing for BYU going away. Man, this is impressive.
Yeah.
This is impressive. Wow. About 10:52. Arkansas
you
gets,
see Fields going crazy there at the finish line.
She on the inside?
Yeah.
They wanted this one back.
Yeah, look at that.
So
wow.
Yeah. I mean, they remember at Albuquerque last year, they were one of the favorites to do it, right? And they had Orton on the anchor, and nothing was guaranteed, but they were definitely one of the teams to beat in that race. And they were, like everybody, devastated that day in Albuquerque. We actually got video of Coach Taylor talking to the team, and they were in tears, and rightfully so. They thought they had a great chance to win. So just, cool to see. Cool to see. Not a lot of teams, not a lot of teams came back that were the same.
So if you're the BYU women right now in a Stillwater hotel, you're watching this.
Yeah, you're happy.
Getting ready for your cross-country race. This got to do like wonders for your confidence going into, just seeing like the people you train with. It's not even seeing like a different event. You're seeing literally the people you do the same workouts with win a national title. You got to think like, hey, if they could just do it, why can't we do it? Right. And it'll be interesting to see how the BYU women perform on Monday. Wow.
Yeah. So 10:52, 10:57, Florida State third with 10:59, Alabama fourth, and Oklahoma State fifth. Well, and as you mentioned, they're rolling out like a new team on Monday as well too. So they don't even have to have people. They don't have to have people come back. But they've been training with each other. They know what they're capable of. So it's got to be a boost there. Okay, final thoughts, Gordon.
Tomorrow's gonna be fun. Men's side, it's gonna be the Oregon show. I'm excited to see how those mid-distance races shape up. Can we see a really impressive sprint time? Can Bowling do something phenomenal in the 200? Can we see
Michael Williams
do something interesting in that 60? And then distance-wise, you might see an upset here or there. Team-wise, it's going to be Oregon, LSU. Oregon, I pretty much is going to win it. And then on the women's side, close battle between A&M and Arkansas. I think they both have a good 4x4. Can Athingmo get the collegiate record? That'll be fun to watch live. And also the BYU women, if they can go to Stillwater with already a trophy within a full fresh 7 going on to the starting line, it'll be a very interesting day for them. So excited to do it live. Yeah. So FloTrack podcast YouTube channel, 1:45 Central men, 5:45 Central women. We're going to watch the whole meet live, react to it. There's a YouTube comment. So if you guys chat with us, maybe we'll answer some of your questions. I don't know. What do YouTubers do these days? Smash the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. But yeah, we'll see. If you're listening to us now, it's probably like noon on a Saturday. So we'll see you in like 90 minutes.
Yes. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. FloTrack Podcast at gmail.com. Like Gordon mentioned, go subscribe to the FloTrack Podcast YouTube channel and tune in on Saturday and on Monday as well. Thanks to Alon for producing. We will talk to you guys on Saturday.